On Education's ISTE coverage is brought to you by TeacherGaming. Mike, we're giving away a 1-year subscription to TeacherGaming.
So TeacherGaming has like 30 games, tons of games. 1 year is probably just enough time to play all of them, hopefully.
Yes. This is just ridiculous. To enter, all you simply need to do is tweet a pic of your favorite game of all time. It could be a board game, a video game, whatever it is.
Catan.
Yeah, Catan. To @TeacherGaming and tag On Education Pod. Tag us, and that's it.
That's it.
That's it. Even if you aren't the winner, though, this giveaway, you can still get a 30-day free trial, and all you need to do is go to teachergaming.com.
You'd still be a winner to us.
Yes, you are still a winner.
I know all the words.
Yes.
I say big words.
You've got all the games.
I have all the best words.
And you know all the words.
I know all the best words. Hello, friends. Welcome to our second ISTE Special Edition episode of On Education. My name is Mike Washburn.
And I'm Glen Irvin. Friends, we have an amazing pod for you today. We're going to recap day one of ISTE. We're going to chat about the keynotes that we heard today, cover anything we saw and loved, and then cap off the pod chatting with Andy Saberioon and Alice Keeler about the Teachers Are Professionals movement.
Did Mexico play today?
They did not, but all we care about, remember, is them winning.
So when do they play next? Do you even know?
Yes, I do. Actually, I don't know if the seeding has taken place yet. So what they end up doing is they end up seeding all the teams now into a tournament. So they were in groups, right?
Right.
And they pull 2 teams from each group, and they seed them into a tournament. So all we want, everybody, is Mexico not to play Brazil or anyone else that's a tough team.
They probably don't like each other very much.
No, it's not that. It's that Brazil's really good.
Well,
we don't want to get eliminated in the first round. You know, you don't even get to go there. So
because they're like
yeah,
favorited to win, aren't Mexico?
Brazil is no, Mexico's not favored to win.
Oh.
No, we're a long shot. Brazil's really top teams. England is awesome. Belgium is awesome.
Iceland is awesome.
Iceland is not even going to make it.
I think they lost to Nigeria.
Yes, and I saw you mark there that England won 6-1. Woo! Okay, go England.
Go England.
They're one of the favorites, I would believe. But we have teams, I would say Brazil and Germany are still teams that I would say are just top teams in the world. But if Mexico can make it to just the final.
Will you cry?
Well, if they win, I will cry. Actually, if they win the next round, I might cry some. So,
wow.
I'll admit
now
it.
I'm cheering for Mexico.
I'll admit it.
It's hard to keep up with how busy we've been.
Yes, this has been actually a crazy day today, but really, really an awesome experience to be, and really humbling experience to be around just tons of awesome educators and people who are making a big difference.
Yeah, I thought today was going to be the slow day.
Yes, it was supposed to be.
The schedule was empty, actually, this morning.
Yes.
And now it is full. So we have interviews that we're not even going to be able to put in this podcast or the hour show that we're going to end up having in the weeks down the road. It was such an awesome day. So let's get into it. When we come back, we will recap day one at ISTE.
On Education is brought to you by Audible. Mike, what have you been reading lately? And I suppose you're kind of like me, where you have quite a few books that you have on your list.
I have too many books on my list. I have probably about 40 audiobooks on my queue, and between listening to podcasts and audiobooks, I am well stocked. Lots of cool books are on Audible, hundreds and thousands of titles, and you can get your own audiobook download for free if you go to audibletrial.com/oneducation. That's audibletrial.com/oneducation, and you can get a free audiobook download. You should go do that, like, right now.
All right, welcome back. So, we're here, day one of ISTE. We've walked around, talked to tons of people. Everyone's here. All the cool people are here, and I guess there's lots of cool people not here. But it's been rad. There's tons of people. Heard some really awesome stuff. So let's get into it. I guess we can start at the start. Well, first off, actually, so many people, like the registration lines were huge, and there was tons of crowds at the stores. I think that they were saying, I was talking to some people just on the floor this morning, and they were saying that it's one of the biggest crowds they've ever seen for like a Sunday morning.
Yes.
It was insane.
Yes.
It was like a Monday crowd on Sunday.
Yeah. You were saying it's kind of like Sunday is almost like kind of someone told me it's kind of like the pre-conference.
It's the slow day.
It's the slow day.
Yeah.
There's not as many sessions either.
No.
So that was actually a problem as we were talking to people.
Yep.
Yes.
So the sessions were full. All of the pre-conference sessions ended up being jammed full, and there were definitely actually was not enough room for all the people that wanted to go to the sessions. Which I mean, who knows how that happens? It is what it is. I think that maybe the attendance at the pre-conference was bigger than they thought.
Than they expected.
I mean,
exactly.
It must have been, right?
Yes.
There's no other way to really explain it, is
No.
there? So unfortunately, there was people that were just straight up turned away at the pre-conference stuff because there just wasn't room to sit, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I guess one thing that I have heard is that some of the folks at ISTE are going to be gathering up in some way, shape, or form the periscopes that everyone's been doing. Because a lot of these pre-conference things were periscoped.
Yes.
Which is awesome. And then they can take all of those and put them into some sort of format so that people can watch them later. So if you missed any of the pre-conferences, if you are, hashtag not at ISTE, take a look at, and when we see them, when we find them, we'll share them out too, so that no one misses anything, because it's unfortunate that people weren't able to get in, but I mean, I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, there actually was a guy that I was talking to. He's awesome. He's on Twitter. His name is Claudio Zavala, and
Nice.
Claudio actually is part of this movement of Pass the Scope EDU.
Yeah.
And so Pass the Scope EDU, basically, they all carry around these kind of high-tech cameras.
Jacked up iPhones.
Yeah, these jacked up iPhone camera things. And they're just going around and basically recording, trying to get the experience of what it is like to be here, both in sessions, in the halls, and even in the media room, and especially, things that people are very interested in, especially sessions that were, basically booked, that there was no room in them, to be able to get the people into them. And all you do is, I think they've posted almost all of them, or all of them, on hashtag PassTheScopeEDU, but they also are making sure that they put them on the not at ISTE13, which is the hashtag you should be following. If you're not here, just follow it. I mean, I actually have seen just the flow of information on that hashtag not at ISTE18 is as much information as the ISTE18 one. So that means that people are posting their experiences, documents, videos, in this case, about what's happening there too. So
lots of good conversations.
Yes.
On Twitter. Twitter's been crazy.
Yes.
Twitter is blowing up. So, I mean, there's tons of people here, as we just said, way more than I think we thought there was going to be on a Sunday, and tons of energy, and the conference hasn't even started yet. I mean, to do some name dropping, I mean, we've talked to like so many people already today.
Yes.
It's been a blast. We've been able to hang out with our buddy Steve Isaacs.
Yes.
We hung out with Alice Keeler, who you're going to hear from in a few minutes.
Yes.
We hung out with a bunch of other people.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, really, the coolest part is that people are willing to come and sit down with us, and take some time out of their busy schedules, because they're presenting, and they're also, they have their companies that they are that they have to go ahead and work their things over there. Yeah. So they're super busy, but they've taken some time and actually spent some time with us, and are willing to go ahead and come onto the podcast and be recorded. And so, again, humbled and privileged, and really, really pumped about everything that's happened just in day one.
So there's lots of things going on around, but there's not a lot of sessions yet. So we don't have a lot to talk about in regards to the sessions, but we do want you to be following Past the Scope. I think that's the big takeaway from if you're not here and you're just listening to us to get some information on where you can get even more information, that's what you want to be doing. You want to be joining and watching some of these periscopes when you have time. And this idea that ISTE or someone is going to amalgamate all of these video files and put them into a format, and we'll get that to you as soon as we know where they are. We're really excited about tomorrow. We're talking to Lego tomorrow. We're talking to
full schedule tomorrow.
Tons of people tomorrow. We're doing the state of ISTE tomorrow. So it's a media only thing where they're going to talk just about where everyone's at and the management and stuff like that. We're working on talking to some folks at Minecraft. We're going to try to talk to some folks at Schoology, and we are talking to D2L about this partnership that they're working on. So we're tons of stuff going on, tons of people to talk to. So keep listening because it's really ramping up. So yeah, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Teachers Are Professionals movement with Alice Keeler and Andy Saberioon.
Friends, On Podcast Media is getting set to launch not one, but 2 new podcasts this summer. And we're excited to tell you about the first one, On Politics. On Politics is hosted by politician, professor, and human rights lawyer Craig Scott. On Politics will take deep dives into policy and politics. You definitely come away learning something every week. To stay up to date with On Politics, follow the show's Twitter account, @OnPoliticsPod. So welcome back, everyone. We're here with Andy Saberioon and Alice Keeler, and we're super pumped to have you guys here on the show and to talk specifically about something that we talk about all the time. It's this Teachers Are Professionals movement. So either Alice or Andy, do you guys want to tell us about this movement and then what teachers can do to be able to get involved in this?
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. So we all know that teachers pay out of pocket. It's like almost a joke. Like everyone knows it, but who's going to solve this problem? And teachers are paying
around $500 out of pocket themselves a year.
So we know it's not a need, it's a want. Teachers need money to spend however they want on their classroom every year. And so, but that's just pencils. That's what they've been doing with pencils.
Yeah.
But now that we're going paperless, now we're pushing an added burden on having to pay for ed tech supplies.
Yes.
You know, and I made a spreadsheet up and says, okay, if you were to want to buy things out of pocket for your classroom, and so if you checkbox on the spreadsheet, it would add up for you. I checkbox 5 things, $800. That's just ed tech products. That doesn't count the pencils and all the other things you want for your classroom. So now we're asking every teacher to pay out of pocket upwards of $1,000 plus. Now, site licensing is 85% less. So if we could just get site license pricing, even if it's out of pocket, which we don't want. We need to change this culture.
Yes.
Why is there even a culture? We know teachers are underpaid, and there's a culture that it's expected that they pay out of pocket. How does that happen?
Right.
So now it's exacerbated by going paperless. No, we need to do something about this, and we need to get the teachers the funding they want, no strings attached, and no receipts.
Yes. Andy?
Ditto. No, I mean, exactly. I think that the underlying, what kind of prompted this conversation when we started Teacher Professionals was the fact that it's expected for educators, first-year educators, to go into the classroom, anyone, but to go into the classroom and actually spend your own money, not get reimbursed. What other industry do you go into and you have to buy your
Work
own
supplies.
work supplies?
Unbelievable.
Without having it be expensed. When do you travel to go to a professional development for another industry and not have it be purchased by your employer, right? So it's these kind of situations that it's like, why do we go into this in a numb feeling that we're expecting this? This is normal. So we're trying to play a small part in that, but really just change that conversation. This is not normal. This is the furthest thing from normal, and we cannot continue to accept it, or we just continue to worsen our potential of how we're growing and adopting education.
Yes. And I think it fits right along with, your statement, teachers are professionals. what we're doing is making us subservient to any other profession. Basically saying, nah, you're not really there at the level of a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, or many other
Do you know
business
what
people.
A lawyer, a doctor, and an accountant all have
Okay.
business cards.
Yes.
If teachers are professionals, why is that not an industry standard that we provide teachers with business cards? So that's part of our movement.
Exactly, yeah. And we're working with a couple big partners. Vistaprint is one of our earliest partners, and they've been amazingly
Oh my gosh.
gracious. They've actually
supportive.
they donated us business cards and T-shirts to promote here at ISTE, all for free. And so that's one of the biggest things. Actually, one of the teacher volunteers who showed up at the event we just had said that he's been doing business cards for the last 10 years himself from Vistaprint. He's been purchasing them.
Yes.
He said
Me too.
yeah, and he's just been handing them out at parent-teacher conferences, at professional development, at conferences when he goes, and he's like, now my other teachers in the school want the business cards, and so I'm just like, look, I'll pay the $50 and I'll get you 500 business cards. But it's just such a small thing that empowers you to realize that you're
a professional educator.
Yes.
It's so easy, but it's just
So part of our movement is if you sign up, we're working with Vistaprint, and we're going to get you for free, because we don't want you paying out of pocket, business cards that say you're a professional educator.
Awesome.
exactly.
So when we go to that site, we've listed it before, we talked about it on the podcast, the teachersareprofessionals.com.
Teachersareprofessionals.com.
It takes you to a Google form, and then walk us through the rest of that. I mean, it collected some basic information, right?
Collected some basic information, name, school, all that kind of stuff, how long you've been a teacher, how much you spent out of pocket, how many ed tech tools that you've been using. I'll give you kind of some key points.
Yes.
So we've been doing this for about 2 weeks, promoting the survey, right? Having people like yourselves be generous enough to support us and promote it as well. We have close to about 4,000 responses so far, all organically, right? About 84% of people are requesting for business cards, right? I think there was about over 75% spend more than $200 out of pocket themselves. And then there's about there's 60-70% of educators are using more than 10 ed tech tools in their classroom.
Yes.
Do the math on that.
So 10
That's crazy.
like Alice was saying, if each one of those costs $100, which to the ed tech vendor, $100 is nothing. That's a couple of Starbucks coffees you don't have for a year.
Exactly.
But when you add this up, that's $1,000 just for licenses.
Yes.
It is.
And when
then-
teachers aren't getting paid hardly anything,
Exactly.
it's a huge amount of your
I
income.
just went on this road trip where we drove from LA here to Chicago, and we stopped at schools along the way. And I mean, one teacher, she's been teaching for over 20 years, makes $38,000. You're making $38,000 a year, and on top of that, you're paying out of pocket for supplies for your classroom.
Barely a livable wage.
What?
It's not a livable way.
No.
Yes,
No,
it's ridiculous.
With all this conversation about minimum wage and stuff, like a teacher with 20 years experience making $38,000 is infuriating to me.
It's infuriating
it's a
to me.
joke. It's a joke.
It
And I
is
think
a
like,
And then, hey, you can pay $15 a month, which, by the way, is $180
yeah,
a year.
it sounds nothing.
$180.
It sounds like nothing when you say 15 a month. But then you compound
You
it.
add all that up.
Exactly, and that's what when we knew, obviously in our heads we all know kind of the data behind it, but when you see people actually fill out forms and are telling you what they're doing and how much
stories.
they're spending, and you actually see the data in front of
Oh
you,
my God, it's eye-opening.
it's insane.
I knew it wasn't great, but just the survey data that we've been getting back, you're just like, holy cow, it's so pervasive. We are all paying out of pocket. The first step, let's say it's not okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
Exactly right.
Yes. So, besides we go onto teachersareprofessionals.com and then we fill out the survey, and then what's going to happen next? Like, what are you guys' next steps?
Yeah, so Teacher Professionals is kind of like it's a long-term play, right? We're not going to change the game overnight, essentially.
Definitely not.
So Alice and I have been mapping out. We've been very fortunate to get like a team of other passionate educators who are kind of helping as ambassadors on this journey to build it out into phases. So right now, if you fill out the survey, you'll get follow-ups from ourselves about what our next updates are. Our goal at ISTE, it was kind of like doing a launch out here, and our goal is to get 10,000 survey responses here.
Awesome.
And so that's what our initial goal is in this current moment.
Yes.
Eventually, our goal is when we start getting the responses, then we can go to a lot of our partners. Like with Pledge Sense, we partner with about 80 companies. And we want to go to these companies and say, hey, we have all these teachers who want you. Instead of giving them $100 for a site-wide subscription, why not give them a discount for $50 or for $20 or whatever the discount we can afford to get as a bundle deal? So now a teacher is getting 5 different companies or 5 different site licenses that he or she wants for a much substantial discount than he or she would have to do otherwise.
Yeah, short-term goal. We already have a pretty good chunk here, but by the end of ISTE, we should have enough people to be able to get significantly reduced. We want to reduce and then eventually eliminate out-of-pocket costs.
Exactly.
And we want to make sure that people understand too, there is no strings attached.
No strings attached. We're not selling
we're
your
not
emails.
selling anything. Yep, we're not selling
emails.
And then just so people understand too that, because people start getting paranoid because people actually want to do something good for teachers for once, and they're like, well,
too good to be
it's
true.
too good to be
Shockingly,
true.
no profit motive.
Exactly.
There's no profit motive.
Nope.
Right? And I love that this whole movement, and Mike and I have talked about it a lot in the show, just that teachers are just not making that much money. They are passionate about reaching all of their students, so they're gonna spend this money even if their district doesn't provide.
That's right.
They don't
funds.
say no.
Yeah.
Teachers don't say no.
And I think that's one of the issues. The underlying issue is we kind of take advantage of that as a community. We
100%.
know that teachers are so passionate about their kids that they'll want to do anything for them. So as sometimes as
we fail the
edtech
budget.
vendors, exactly as larger communities, we leverage that to
Well, and
our
lawmakers
advantage.
know that too.
Exactly.
That's our problem, is that
And-
lawmakers know that teachers are pushovers because
Exactly.
we want to do right by our students, and so we do it because
Exactly
that's
right.
what you're supposed to do.
And if what we're doing with Teacher Professionals can change the conversation a little bit to allow the higher powers to see what's really going on and understand like this is enough,
Yes.
right? And I think that's a bigger ambitious goal. But that has to change. We cannot take advantage of educators in that way, and educators can't go into it assuming that I'm going to spend $500 this year. No, spend $500 for your family.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Go on a vacation, buy the kids
I have
Christmas
5
gifts or whatever.
kids.
Right.
Yes. So what we want to do for you guys for sure is check in again, like
Oh,
3
please.
months from
Thank
now,
you.
Great, thank you.
and then like say where are we at now? What do we need to go ahead and do? And
Great.
even we'll just do an online call or whatever it might be. We'll put all of you guys' information in the show notes so that
show
people
notes,
can
yep.
connect real easily
Great.
to
Awesome.
it. And then obviously, thank you guys so much, Alice and Andy. You guys are freaking awesome. I love this movement.
guys.
Thank
Super
you.
passionate about it. You guys are great.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys for having
Thank
us.
you.
On Education is an on-podcast media production. My name is Mike Washburn. My co-host is Glen Irvin. You can get in touch with us or ask us questions to answer on air by visiting our website, oneducationpodcast.com. You can tweet us at oneducationpod. Glen is at Spanish on Twitter. I can be found on Twitter at Mr. Washburn. Our sound engineer is Jake Codeweiss. He's on Twitter at JK Radio. You can find us on Facebook by visiting facebook.com/oneducationpod. If you're enjoying the show and think others would too, we would be honored if you shared it with them. Please leave us a rating or review in Apple Podcasts or the Google Play Store. When you leave a rating, it gives our rankings a boost. This helps others discover the show. We want to thank our presenting sponsor, Schoology, for supporting us. Check out Schoology.com to learn how they can help you advance what's possible. Thanks as always for listening. Stay awesome. See you soon.